This is the new Mercedes GLC, and it's a little bit like the Apple Watch. You see, both were first introduced back in 2015, and now for 2022 they've had major updates. They're all new. So we've got the new GLC and we've got the new Apple Watch 8. Wait a minute, I think this is the Apple Watch 7. What a load of rubbish. This is all new though, and in this video I'm going to talk you around the exterior, the interior. I'm going to try out some of its technology, see how practical it is, take it for a drive, and of course I'm going to launch it to see how quick it is from 0 to 60 miles an hour, because I'm Matt Watson and you're watching CarWow. Buy, sell, CarWow. The new GLC takes on some of the design cues from the C-Class. It's based on the C-Class, but it's the SUV version, isn't it? So you've got sleek tail lights. This looks like it's a full-length light bar, but it's not. It's just a piece of trim, bit of a shame, because I do like the overall design of the rear until we get to this bit lower down here, and that's the reason why I've got the CarWow stick of truth, because Mercedes are still at it, the buggers. Look, completely fake exhaust. I lost a bit of stick there, but it didn't go in the hole, it just dropped out, because there is no hole, because actually the exhaust is underneath, you can see it. Another thing that's fake, these vents here, these non-vents, sorry. It's a bit of a shame because the overall design is really, really nice. Quite sleek and sporty looking for an SUV. Wheel sizes start at 19s, these are the 20s, and you've got 3 trim levels. There's AMG line Premium, and then there's AMG line Premium Plus. But really, they look pretty much the same from the outside apart from the wheels. They all get these satin roof bars, satin window surrounds, and SUV running boards as well. Moving to the front, takes on the design yet again of the new C-Class, but obviously jacked up. So you've got a bigger grille than before. The lights are more integrated into the grille compared to the old GLC. Huge Mercedes badge there, and another one on the bonnet just to confirm that it is indeed a Mercedes. And you get the AMG line body kit, so these sporty bits. In Europe they actually get an avant-garde trim, which is a little bit more normal looking, but in the UK we like our sporty looking motors. Some vents there which actually do serve a purpose, smooth airflow down the side of the car. Yes, it is smart looking and it looks expensive because it is expensive. This car starts from £52,000, which is a higher starting price than its key competitors from BMW, Porsche and Audi. Now, if you want to check out the latest offers on all the latest cars to make sure you're paying a fair price, click on the pop-out banner up there for the link in the description below to go to CarWow. Now, if you want to do that at a later date, just simply Google "Help Me CarWow" and my team and I will help you choose the right car for you and get it for a fair price from one of our trusted dealers. Here on the inside, the GLC is just as stylish. Really like the interior. Great design. It's similar to the C-Class as well. This being the range hopping version has this fake wood effect on the dash. Otherwise, the dash is like this sort of like magic eye pattern, which can give you a bit of a migraine. But overall, really nice design. Especially the fact that you get this leatherette, not real leather, but it feels like it, on the dash. Just makes it feel expensive. Another thing you get in this range hopping version is the panoramic glass roof. Look at it. Just let that do its thing, it takes a while. So I'll continue with the driving position, which is very nice. Obviously you've got electrically adjustable seats as standard. There's a decent range of motion in them as well. I like this feature, look. I don't know why, it just pleases me. I'd still just have it in the normal position, but I like that functionality. Obviously there's lots of adjustment in the steering column as well, and because it's a Porsche Mercedes, it's electrically operated, no manual operation here. So overall, looks really good. You've got all the tech, but there are a few bits and pieces that just let it down that feel cheap, like the drive selector there. That just feels nasty. This button here, that's cheap. This bit of trim here, cheap as well. And when I go low down here, the door bins, that's scratchy. I think this is more stylish inside than a BMW X3, but the materials throughout the X3 seem a little bit better. Now, if you want to see my full in-depth video review of the BMW X3, click on the pop-out banner up there for the link in the description below. One thing I definitely prefer about this car though is the infotainment system. I think Mercedes infotainment system is bang on. It's easy to use. Lots of functionality. You've got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Then you've got this digital driver's display, which is nice and clear, and you can cycle through lots of different views for that. Really easy to use, got all the information you want. What I don't like though are the touch sensitive buttons on the steering wheel, because they're a little bit finicky. You accidentally press them sometimes when you're driving, and that does annoy me rather a lot. As for the practicality, well look, we've got a big center console there with 2 USB ports. Under here you have 2 cup holders, and they are adjustable so they can hold smaller items like that, and they can hold bigger items as well. Then you've got a wireless charging pad, which is standard, and another USB port there. The glove box is a reasonable size. Look, we've got the manual in there, and there's still plenty of room for lots of other stuff as well. And the door bins are absolutely massive. Normal size bottle. Trying to illustrate that they're massive by chucking the bottle in there and missing, but hopefully we'll cut out the first spell take, or the editor might not, just to wind me up. Anyway, now that blind's gone back, I can show you this. The glass roof opens. I'm never sure how to operate it. It's just like such a fiddle. Come on, you know you open further than that. What's going on? How am I supposed to do this? It opens more than this, I swear. There we go. Oh, why did I stop it? No, now it's going back. Why does it stop there? Why does it stop there? What's going on with it? It's totally lost its mind. It's making me lose my mind. I'm not giving up. Come on. Open. Open all the way. Open all the freaking way. What is going on with this? Right. First stage. No. What? Why? Right. Where's that bloody manual? Okay. Was this operator error or engineer's error? Let's find out. To open, swipe backwards across the control panel and hold. Okay, so it was operator error, but it just wasn't intuitive. It's a bit like the buttons on the steering wheel where you swipe and touch sensitive and then press some other times. It's the same with this, it's just, nah. Well, I understand it now. Sorry, Mercedes. My bad. It's a bit embarrassing. Let's move into the rear. Rear passengers are treated to the same kind of quality as those in the front. Look, it's all very nicely designed. And this range topping car has a Burmester sound system with really nice speaker grills, and it sounds epic. You've also got lovely contoured seats as well. Feels special back here. Knee room is good. Headroom is good, and look at this, the footwells, there's enough room in them, and because the chairs are actually raised up so you can put your feet underneath them. If you need to carry 3 people in the back at once, this big hump in the floor does get in the way, but the footwells are just about big enough to cope with 3 people's feet, and the body is wide enough that you don't feel too cramped. When it comes to carrying a child seat, it's quite easy to get it in, and the Isofix anchor points are really easy to locate because you just push past these little covers. Slight issue I found is the design of these seats. The way this bit like pops out at the top means if you've got a bulky rear facing seat, you do have to move the front passenger seat forward a little bit, which is a bit annoying for the front passenger. Now, you don't have that problem in an Audi Q5, and if you want to see my in-depth review of that car, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the link in the description below. Anyway, let's carry on. So practicality, look, we've got posh airplane style folders on the seat backs. You've got big door bins again here at the back. Let's see if I can get the bottle in there. Oh yeah, did it first take that time. And the editor can't mess around with me either because there's no failed take.
Are you sure about that?
This is Mercedes' best-selling car in Europe, and you got then click on the pop-out banner up there, and then it just almost can't talk. Also, under here, look, you've got your armrest, a holder for your phone, and then your cup holders, which look a little bit too much like some eyes staring at you. Freaking me out a bit. Oh, and there again, look, there's a face there, a robotic face. Sort of reminds me of Bender from Futurama.
Bite my shiny metal ass.
Yeah, that's the climate control settings there for the rear. It's freaking me out a little bit. Need to get out into the boot. And look, I'll show you this. The windows go all the way down, so I'm going to make an exit. Ah! I've escaped. Hopefully there's no more scary faces around the back of this car. Let's check out the boot. So, capacity on normal GLCs is 600 litres, which is slightly bigger than a BMW X3's boot and an Audi Q5's. And it's a nice square shape. But there is a problem. If you go for the plug-in hybrid version, because it has such a huge battery pack, the boot capacity is reduced by 1/3. You might be able to see this sloped effect here. That's because, yeah, there's all those battery cells underneath. The slope does help when loading things in and out because you can slide them quite easily, and there's no load lip to lift stuff over, which is good. Anyway, if you need to carry bigger items, you can just fold down the seats and you have an electrical release. Then when you want to put them up, you have to do it manually. Once again, look, you can see, because of the plug-in hybrid, there's now a bit of a step to the back part. So when you're pulling things out, can you see that? Oh! It gets core, which is bloody annoying. Another thing that's annoying is the load cover. You cannot put the load cover underneath the false floor like you can in the normal petrol or diesel version, the non-plug-in hybrid versions, because underneath here, if I can get under there, bloody hell, look, that's all the space you have. Anyway, that brings on to 5 or 9 things about the new Mercedes GLC. The ambient lighting on the dash and in the air vents may look cool, but at night they really reflect badly in the windscreen. It's quite distracting. All right, you all right? This car's all white. Well, it is all white if you don't want to pay extra for paint. White is the only standard paint colour. Everything else is going to cost you over £700. The brakes on this hybrid are a little bit creaky when you're going slowly and manoeuvring. That's a bit like the sound the Titanic made when it split in two and sank. These running boards may look cool, but they're completely useless. For instance, you literally don't need to use them to step up. In fact, it's harder to get into the car using them. You get in normally like that, don't you? And when you go to get out, you forget they're there, and then you end up just like running the back of your trousers all over them, and then the backs of your trousers are then covered in dirt. Trousers. Unlike the reversing camera, which is covered until you need it, the front camera is always exposed, and it doesn't have a wash function, which means it gets covered in loads of road crap, especially if you're driving behind someone on the motor when there's lots of spray. Look, this is so dirty, so you're gonna have to get out and clean it. However, it's not all bad. Here's 5 cool things about this car. For instance, if you have the 360-degree cameras, you can actually use them as security CCTV. So let's say someone breaks into your car, you can actually see this happening live on an app on your phone and record the incident to give to the police so that they can do nothing about it. This car will automatically set your ideal driving position. You just input your height, it's that simple. So there we go, 179 centimeters. If I'm standing up dead straight, that is. Start positioning, look, it's moving the steering wheel and the seat exactly where it thinks it should be for me. And it's got it pretty much spot on. But what happens if I was really tall? 220 centimeters tall, to be precise. Oh, we're going back, we're going back. We're going way, way back. Almost into the back. Yeah, I couldn't drive like that. How about if I'm really short? 145 centimeters tall. This is going to be interesting. All right, oh, it's reclining me at first. Oh, no, here we go. How close to the wheel will it take me? It's going to get me as close to the wheel as if I had T-Rex arms. Rah! Rah! Look at that. This is crazy. Can't believe someone might actually drive like this. There's a fingerprint sensor here. So when you press it, it recognises who you are and it'll set the car up with all your personal settings, and it can store 7 different settings. I don't know why you need 7 different ones, but there you go. You can get the car with a huge heads-up display which can show various bits of information depending on which driving mode you're in. It also can show a massive map from the sat-nav system, though you only get to see that really when you're driving. But here's a quick cutaway of what it looks like. Impressive. There's a special off-road driving mode, which is so very special that you actually have to hit a button to confirm that you want it, because it sets up the car's driving system specifically for off-roading. And then you have this, look, if I swipe over this way, I can go to the off-road settings in the menu where I get all loads of information, such as angles of the car and wheels, positions, and this bit I like that, look. You get a system that just lets you see what's underneath the car's bonnet. So it remembers what it saw from the front camera and then just paints it in for you, so you can look underneath where you're driving to position your car appropriately so you don't go down any potholes, or I don't know, what might you go down when you're off-roading? Not a pothole, they're on the road, aren't they? I don't even know what I'm talking about. I think we should probably just end this segment now. There's another great thing about this car, and it's the engine choices. So you can have a 2-litre diesel with either 220 horsepower or 292 horsepower, or a plug-in hybrid version with 335 horsepower. Then there's a petrol model, which is a 2-litre turbo, and it either has 281 horsepower, or if you go for the plug-in hybrid, 313 horsepower, and that's what this car is. Now, all models get a 9-speed automatic gearbox and 4-wheel drive, and one of the great things about the plug-in hybrids in particular is that because they have reasonably large batteries for a plug-in hybrid, 31 kilowatt hours, they can do a decent amount of range on electric power alone, up to 80 miles, Mercedes says. The top speed on electric power alone is 87 miles an hour, which is more than the speed limit in the UK. The problem with all this engine choice though, and the fact that you can get the car with 3 different trim levels, means that it might be a bit tricky to decide which is the best model to go for. So do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to configure my favourite Mercedes GLC, the engine choice and the trim level, using the CarWow configurator. Now, if you want to see exactly what that car is, click on the pop-out button up there, or follow the link in the description below to go to CarWow. Alternatively, if you need help buying a car, then simply Google "Help Me CarWow." My team and I will help you choose the right car for you and get it for a fair price from one of our trusted dealers. Right, let's see what this GLC is like to drive. Obviously starting off in town. I'm running in hybrid mode, and when you're getting these kind of speeds, it's just going to run in electric. Now I can lock it into electric only mode. That way the engine won't chime in at all unless I really stab at the throttle and hit a kick down switch. And you know what? Just driving around town in electric mode. That's what you're going to do with this car. Charge it up at your house, drive it around your local area in electric mode, never use the petrol engine at all. It'll save you a ton of cash, and it's a real nice relaxing car to drive in electric mode. It's just quiet, smooth, you've got a good view out, decent view forward. The only thing is this big pillar here does create a bit of a blind spot. Let's see if I can just squeeze through this gap. I'm going to do a turning circle test and really annoy everybody. So the turning circle on this car is 11.8 meters. Let me go, please, like me, like yeah. No, oh, she's not. Oh, she's mad as hell. She's mad as hell. I'll give her a little thank you. I know you're in a Range Rover and it's bright red, so yeah, you're probably quite an aggressive person. Sorry to impede your progress. I know you're out SUVing me in your Range Rover. So this is generally really good, but occasionally when you hit like a sharp bump, you do feel a bit of a jolt, and it surprises you, like, hey, what's all this about? I've been, just so comfortable until now, but it doesn't happen that often. I think it's also a bit of a surprise. Sometimes the automatic gearbox in the GLC can be a bit hesitant. It's got 9 different gears to think about. So when you're going slowly, then you put your foot down, it can be a bit like, whoa, which gear? When you've got the hybrid, you don't notice that so much because the electric motor fills in that gap while the gearbox is having to think about things. I don't normally like plug-in hybrids. I think they're a compromise. They're heavier than the normal internal combustion engine car, and they're not quite as good as a normal full-on electric vehicle in terms of their performance and the range you can get out of them. But the ones from Mercedes, because their range is so good for a plug-in hybrid, and they've got them pretty well sorted in dealing with their added weight, they're actually the pick of the range, Ugh, can't believe I just said that. So I've gone out onto a faster road and I'm still driving in electric only mode, and when I accelerate there is enough punch to pick up speed. However, if you're joining a motorway and you need a sudden burst of acceleration, I'm going to do it now. I'll show you the kick down when it brings the engine in. So I'm maybe in electric only mode, but I'm flooring it. The petrol motor's woken up and we are flying now. Yeah, it's a decent amount of performance. I'm going to go to hybrid mode. Come on, hybrid, there we are. This is pretty nice. Yeah, it's a quiet car, not much wind noise at all, little bit of road noise, not intrusive, it's relaxing. Seats are comfy as well, really, really nice thing to do distance in. Now, Mercedes claim this thing will do an average of 117 miles per gallon if you use the hybrid system. But the reality is that you're never going to use the petrol engine when you're just driving around town, and when you're doing a long journey, you might just end up using the petrol engine if you're going like for 100, 200, 300 miles or something like that. So what I did was set the car to retain its battery. So what that meant was that it just basically ran using the petrol engine. And when I did that, it averaged 48 miles per gallon, which is pretty good just running on the petrol engine. So this could be quite a cheap car to run. Finally then, country road driving. Let's see what this thing is like. Is it any fun? I'm going to go into sports mode. So that's added weight to the steering, made the throttle response a bit sharper, stiffened the suspension slightly. Let's chuck it into some corners. Okay, so the braking does feel a little bit unnatural when you first press the pedal, because obviously the first part of the braking is regen braking to put some energy back into the battery. And you find that with a lot of cars that are hybrids or electric, that first part of braking is a little bit, best way to describe it is springy, a little bit artificial. So you have to get used to that. Once you do get used to it, it's not a problem. And then you have the smug feeling of well-being of knowing that when you are slowing down, you're actually improving your efficiency because you're putting energy back into the battery. And yes, I'm now very self-satisfied. Anyway, enough of all that. How does this car go through the corners? Considering it's a plug-in hybrid, which means it's got more weight because of the battery tech and the motors, it does a good job of disguising it. Sometimes plug-in hybrids can feel a little bit ponderous, but this one isn't bad at all. It stays flat in the bends, feels sure-footed. Obviously, you've got four-wheel drive traction, so when you accelerate out of a corner, it's absolutely fine. You don't get any stability control kicking in and cutting the power. It's all very smooth, all very predictable, all very safe. But is it fun? No, not really. If you want the sportiest sports SUV, in fact, SUV stands for sports utility vehicle, never mind. If you want the sportiest of these kind of cars, what you need is the Porsche Macan. And to see my full in-depth video review of that car, click on the pop-out banner up there, follow the link in the description below. This version of the GLC is supposed to do 0 to 60 in 6.7 seconds, but let's find out what the reality is with my specialist timing gear here. I'm going to launch it. Oh, hold it on the brake, go. Oh, that was pretty strong. Quite like the sound of it. 6.03 seconds, that's good. Pretty sure some of that noise was artificial being piped in through the speakers, but it's quite fruity. So then what's my final verdict on the new Mercedes GLC? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should shortlist the GLC. It is rather expensive, but it's a very posh feeling compact SUV, and it's particularly appealing in plug-in hybrid form. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon to turn your notifications on. That way you won't miss a single upload. Let me know if you agree with my verdict in the comments below, and click on those windows there to watch some more videos. And if you click on that box there, you can go to CarWow for help with buying your next car.